So hey guys, what's up? This is Ezekiel, and welcome back to the next episode of the Battle Cats Evolution series. Yeah, so in the last video, we talked about the cheerleader cat, and so today, we're actually going to be moving on back to one of the, uber cats that I've had for quite a long time, and I never actually made a video on him in particular, just because I never thought the time was right. But because the time is right today, in particular, I decided to show him off, and that, my friends, is the Maeda Keiji, or just Keiji for short, because, apparently there's a bit of disputes here and there trying to dictate how exactly you pronounce the first part of his name, so let's just call him Keiji for short, and that should probably make things a little bit easier for everyone. But anyways, before we get on to this particular cat right here, I just wanted to apologize, for not posting for the past 3 weeks or however long it was since I posted the last video. Just been really busy for the, back to school and stuff, so I had to focus more on, the whole university works, getting used to the classes, semester, stuff like that, and there was also, me hanging out with the friends, the girlfriends, stuff like that. So basically, there's, a lot happening right now. It's, difficult to balance it out between Battle Cats videos and the schoolwork and other life stuff. So I'm going to try to balance it a little bit better starting this month. So hopefully I'll be able to upload more of these videos as the days go on for, the month of February and stuff like that. So we're just going to have to see. Anyways, Maeda Keiji, or Keiji for short. Let's just get right into it. A warrior that was transformed by the legendary cat armor into a tiger-type general. Ooh, that's a very, very solid first statement right there. Area attack. Resistant to black, more damage when hurt. So already, based on just those three things, there's already a lot of stuff going on right here. So this guy's resistant to black enemies. He's able to power up when his HP is low enough, which essentially means that, for example, if he does, let's say 10,000 damage, then once his HP drops to 30%, then it'll actually do way more than it does originally. And it does air attack damage, which is pretty swell, because air attack damage is always something that you would like to have in most cats anyway. So yeah, this guy just has a lot of interesting abilities right here, but aside from that, there's nothing that really stands out in particular, because he's his stats in comparison to other uber cats of his tier level are not the greatest. So really, you could probably use him as a tank in most black enemy situations where there's black buns or experience stages and stuff like that. But that's just the very basics of it. But it gets a little bit better as the evolutions continue. So let's just move on from there then, shall we? Which is the next form right here, the Wargod Keiji. The legendary cat armor evolved and sprouted a cherry tree from his head. Area attack damage, resistant to black, and more damage when hurt. So, in his first evolution, it's just kind of a little bit of hair on his head. And then all of a sudden, there's a tree that's now growing on his head, which is kind of cool, but at the same time a little bit freaky, because, if you guys watch the Game Theory dude on YouTube, like Matt Pat, if any of you have seen his episode on the toad mushroom thing, where toads basically they took over the bodies of the original Mushroom Kingdom citizens in order to take control of them, and then kind of spread their domination across the kingdom. That's kind of what I think right here too. So it's a plant that's essentially taking over the mind of this once epic cat tiger general. So a little bit freaky in that regard, but it's still pretty cool. So hopefully the tree doesn't do anything evil to this cat right here, because cats are cool. I like cats, probably because of my girlfriend, but cats are just really, really cool. Anyways, aside from that rant, essentially keeps the same abilities as it did before, just a couple of slight increases in terms of its stats from its first evolution anyways. But the real cool thing that makes this cat really, really good is its final form, its true form, which I'm going to talk about right now. Let's not keep guys in suspense. So this guy is named the Immortal Keiji, which is pretty freaking impressive, not gonna lie. You go from just a, Maedai to Immortal, or sorry, not Immortal, you go to War God to Immortal, so it's just a big progression in terms of going from from just Immortal to literally a god. As the cherries blossom, so does Kaiji's Battle Fury. Resistant to black, immune to wave attacks, air attack grows stronger as he takes damage. So literally right there, it's like, wow. All of a sudden you have 4 things about this dude instead of the typical 3. So it essentially keeps the original 3 abilities that it had to start with, but it then gains the one that really makes it, like, you know, threatening to like the koalas or any enemies in general that can do wave attack damage, because this guy is completely resistant to all wave attacks in this particular state right here. So I definitely like using this cat, and when there's whenever there's stages where you're dealing with, you know, toucans, koalas, like I said, the dogs that can all do like these wave attacks, and it's really, really irritating when you're trying to, you know, you're trying to send out a bunch of cats and then they just all die because like the wave attacks like do just so much damage progressively. So because this guy has the wave immunity, it makes him really, really useful in those scenarios. So really, you have like a really, I said really twice, wow, you have a very basic Uber cat that's good against black enemies, and then with this added effect of wave immunity, then it just makes it that much better. So that's why I really, really like using this cat in a lot of just general scenarios, just because, well, really, it's like you have the attack boost, which is great for just any scenario in general. You have the wave immunities, which makes him very good against the enemies I just mentioned, and then obviously the resistance to black. So he's just like, there's just so many good things that you could use this guy for in a lot of cases. But anyways, enough ranting, let's actually try to use this guy in battle. So for this team composition, we're going to be focusing mainly towards a resistant team. So the first line of cats all give resistance boosts. That's going to make Keiji just a little bit better for what I'm going to show you guys, or what battle I'm going to show you guys, or I'm going to use him for the battle. Jeez, I'm confusing the words right here. This is what happens when you try to record a video right after a 3-hour class in university. But anyways, I'm going to bring a bunch of support cats as well that are also good against black enemies, so that should be pretty good. But before we do that, I'm going to go to the dojo first. So, sorry, let me just go back right here because I realized that had him in the true form state. I'm going to go back to the dojo and just very quickly mention, or, you know, give my opinions and stuff on the actual looks of the cat right here, just before we get to the battle portion. So let's just speed things up right here, because that's going to make things a little bit easier. And then we can take a look at what the form of the cat actually looks like right here. So you see, I didn't forget that. Some people in like much older videos are just like, man, why don't you like show these cats in like their separate evolutions just like you did way before? So that's what I'm going to do right here. So it basically starts out as this form right here, so nothing too crazy, just has like a really tiny hammer. It's kind of funny actually. You have like a super crazy, not like, I wouldn't say buff sort of, dude, just like a really large cat that has like, you know, looks pretty epic in terms of like his armor and stuff, because he has like the sake on the side, or I would assume that's sake anyways, just based on other games that I played. Has the neat looking armor that's sort of around him, and then he has like this little tiny hammer that he sort of just, you know, smacks to victory whenever he's like going up against enemies. So he's like, ah, just with his like tiny little hammer. So it's a little bit funny, but you can see obviously he dies very quickly to the the whatever that thing's called. Is it like a dummy thing that it releases? Not too sure. Well, it dies very easily, that because it's like a one-shot kill no matter what, unless you're using a metal cat, like the metal cat himself. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's, you know, not too much to say. Like, he looks pretty, you know, Japanesey, if that's the right terminology. He looks pretty cool. His hammer is a little bit tiny, so it's like, I don't know. It just looks kind of funny when he's like trying to smack that thing and be super aggressive. But anyways, this is his next form right here, the Wargod Keiji. Oops, forgot to put the speed up thing. Don't think it's going to really matter, though. Maybe it's, you know, for the best, because, you know, we don't have to keep sending out the Keijis to just die to, like, the giant warning of the cross-looking thing. Oh, it has, yeah, so it's like a cross-looking thing with, like, a sack in the center of it, so to make it look like, I don't know, a dummy. But anyways, yeah, the speed thing won't matter. So what the Wargod Keiji looks like then is that he looks a little bit different, obviously. The armor around his like chest area seems to be a little bit more obvious. The cherry blossom tree on his head's like very, very obvious now, so it's kind of like just exploding right there, and you can see there's like a nice little leafy effect that goes from the tree, so it looks kind of nice. And then his little hammer turns into a super giant axe that actually looks a little bit more proportional to the rest of his attire. So instead of a tiny looking hammer that looks a little bit funny, it actually kind of looks a little bit more it fits more of his character as of this point of the evolution. It also has like a little bit of a ribbon effect as he smacks it down, which is pretty cool as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that. You know, got a tree on his head, hopefully not controlling him, as I said before, and has an improved weapon. But the Immortal Keiji, this one is the one that is really kind of mind-blowing. Not really mind-blowing in terms of the fact that it's going to be like, oh my god, that's what he looks like? Holy crap. It's like, no. I just mean, like, you know, he looks a lot more menacing and threatening, and also maybe kind of funny, too, if you look at his head, as I will show you right here. So I'm going to use the speed boost this time because, you know, it's like, I'm not saying it's bad, too, but it's like just more convenient. So what you got this time is, instead of the blossom tree growing on his head, it looks like it's been cut off or chopped off right from the middle, and now he wields it as an actual weapon. So you can see on the bottom of the tree right there, you can see like sort of that chopped like effect. So, you know, it probably makes the most sense that he ripped it off his head because it grew so damn big, and he's just like, you know what, I'm gonna use this as my weapon because it's like just freaking amazing. But also, you might have noticed, this time, Keiji didn't actually die from the one hit from the dummy machine thingy. You know why? Is because he does gain a little bit extra attack range when he goes from his second form to his true form. So, I forgot to mention that, of course. When he goes from his second form to his true form, he does get some increases in his attack power, his HP, stuff like that to make him just a little bit better with the added ability of the wave immunity. So it's pretty cool. But aside from that, you know, that's just what he looks like. Pretty cool, very tree-like, let's say, very natural, if you want to put it that way. But now for the actual part of the coolness right here is using him in battles. So for this example, I could go for the XP Coliseum, but because that stage is really difficult, and like, you know, despite the fact how Keiji is like super awesome and stuff, like it's just, it doesn't really show what he can do in extreme circumstances like that. So I'm just gonna go for the basic Violet Flash Insane mode, and we're gonna just see how well Keiji performs. So I think I don't have to necessarily, like, I'm not going to go like a serious battle right here because I do want to show like how strong Keiji is just by himself. So I'll probably just send out like, you know, maybe just the Dark Laser for now, just to kind of stack up on them muns and stuff. And we're just going to wait a little bit here as, you know, the Dark Laser literally pwns all of these really weak dogs and stuff. So as this is happening, I guess I can sort of briefly mention just a little bit of extra details of what I've been doing this, like, you know, the past month before. So I know that I mentioned that I was busy with university work and whatnot, but specifically what I was actually doing is that I was focusing on trying to, you know, establish my like routine or schedule, if you will, for the classes I have so far, because the ones I'm taking this semester are music history, Italian, then I have global history, Greek and Roman history. So you can tell that I'm doing a lot of history this semester right here, which is pretty cool. But then there's one more class. What was my other class? Oh yeah, philosophy, of course. I can't forget philosophy right here. So you can see that, so I guess I can't really finish my story right here because we're already here. But you can see that we're already to this point where you got like most of the black enemies going towards us, and Keiji is literally being like a freaking boss, just kind of like dominating over all these like black enemies right here, especially because the Bun Bun. But of course you can see that his ability kind of kicks in right there, and now he's going to be boosted to like his to the state where his attack power goes up right here. So I know that we just died right here. I realize that, so don't be like, oh my god, easy, you suck, you just lost that battle. But no, the whole point of this little exercise right here, if you will, it was just to show like how freaking resistant Keiji is in terms of resisting black enemies, because literally he was just standing there smacking away, taking all the hits from the Bun Buns, and also all those many other black enemies like the kangaroos, the gorillas, the doggos, stuff like that. And then by the time the second Bun Bun came around, he was still chilling there, just taking all those hits, being like, wow, you guys are so freaking weak. I'm like not dying, I'm just gonna stand here and make sure you don't get to the base. But he got knocked back once, which then caused him to get close to the base to take it out. But he did get the attack boost, which was pretty cool. So now this time, hopefully that hopefully that gives you an idea of how freaking tanky Keiji can be just by himself. So in that regard, we're going to now legitimately use him in a real scenario here. So we're gonna try harder this time. And I guess I neglected to mention that we have an extra ability, like an extra cat combo, which is a strong effect. Didn't actually notice that until I saw it like just now, so there's that, I suppose. But I mean, it's like indirectly helpful because it helps the Darth Lasers be just a little bit stronger against these enemies, which is pretty nice. But again, the main star of the show happens to be Keiji, not Darth Laser. That was another video. But anyways, yeah, I guess I can go back to the things. So I have those 5 classes that I'm taking in university, and I was just trying to, you know, establish like what to expect out of the work and like how to set things up and whatnot, because occasionally I will have like tests and exams and assignments here whenever, so I, you know, had to kind of do all that stuff first. And once I've sort of established like, okay, so this is what's going to be happening from here to here, I'm not going to expect anything too crazy, I can then proceed to you know, just to kind of like plan things out in a way so that I can like, I wouldn't be so stressed out when it came down to like making videos and all that fun stuff right here. So apparently what's different this time is that the kangaroos actually made it here, and the Darth Laser didn't just kind of make it all the way there, which is interesting. But again, not too bad because we can start summoning all these guys as the actual support. But yeah, so so I was just kind of like trying to establish all like the norms, if you will, for the university stuff. So that's that. And then in terms of the hangouts and the girlfriends, girlfriend, not girlfriends, I only have one girlfriend, not multiple, not a player, I'm just a cool dude. But yeah, I've been going to a few hangouts here and there, spending time with the buds, just because you know, my philosophy for enjoying university so that you don't have a bad time and you don't like regret you know, the work and all that bad stuff is that, you know, spend time with the buds and try to have fun when you can, so that when exams and all the hard work do come, at least, you know, you're not like super depressed, or you could be like, you know what, I had good times before, so it's not as bad as it could be. But yeah, I went to a few hangouts here and there. Some in particular where, like, you know, I would go into like these mini groups, if you will, where we'd like do stuff like watch movies, eat dinner at places, or go out to like go out of like just our houses and stuff to like do some cool stuff. So well, that's pretty fun. And then when it comes to like the girlfriend stuff, I would basically do that too, where it's like, you know, take her to dinner, or we go outside exploring, or we just like have fun hangouts at like either of our places. So, you know, just generally just doing a lot of stuff, you know, on my own time that's outside of school, that isn't necessarily related to school. Like, even at school, like, I'll also, you know, hang out with the buds and the girlfriend, or my girlfriend. I don't know why I keep saying the girlfriend, like, my girlfriend Lux, as I will say. But, yeah, just, like, generally being busy with the schoolwork and spending time with the friends and stuff is what I've mostly been doing. So, you know, hopefully that's like understandable. You won't be like, wow, Easy's not making videos. Or you can be more like, okay, so Easy's like, you know, he has stuff to do in life, and it's like not necessarily the most easiest thing to like also do videos on top of all that. So, you know, if you can give me some slack or give me just a little bit of sympathy or that fun stuff, then that'd be greatly appreciated. But anyways, down to the conclusion, you can see that we actually won that battle pretty easily because we actually started using all the cats properly, and the Keiji was just like sort of a, you know, a nice little kind of like the nail in the coffin, if you will. So overall, do I think that Keiji is good? I think that Kaiji's like, he's alright, he's pretty useful in a lot of scenarios. I wouldn't say he's the most like freaking powerful Uber that you can expect he's going to just dominate in, you know, when it comes down to like taking down most black enemies. Like, he's really resistant, really tanky in that regard, and he's mostly meant to be like a support character, if that makes sense. But I definitely recommend getting him and maxing up to level 40 or level 50 if that's even a thing. I'm pretty sure it's level 40 though. Yeah. Pretty sure it's just level 40, you can't go any further than that. But he's still a really good cat in like overall, and I definitely recommend using him if you're struggling with either enemies that are like just black enemies or enemies that can do wave attacks as well. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, then hit that like button, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Battle Cats Evolutions videos in the future. If you want to see any more particular cats, then just, you know, let me know, and I will definitely try to put out that video you know, sometime in the future. Actually, you know, since this is like the first video in like a long time, I may as well show you guys the progress that I've made, because, you know, I have made some progress in terms of leveling the cats and stuff. So as you can see, all of the cats, or all of my rare cats, are now fully maxed out in terms of levels. So I've brought them all to level 30. Some of them are like level 34, level 32 or stuff like that, because I'm like currently trying to like further max them out with the cat capsules and stuff. But as you can see, all of these guys are level 30, which is pretty, like, I don't know, it just feels really nice, so that I don't have to like worry about being like, I gotta max these cats out so that it like looks like, you know, amazing. But that's most of the progress that I've done there in terms of the rare cats. In terms of the super rare cats, I've actually gotten myself the Can cat, so I will be able to do a hip-hop, or a video on the hip-hop cat at some point in the future. Haven't really worked too much on these guys, in all honesty, just because, you know, been working on like the rare cats, obviously, and uber cats as well. So these guys remain to be mostly the same. And in terms of the uber rares, I'm currently working on Thundia, because I actually got it recently from a golden ticket roll that I got from the Uberfest, which is really lucky. And during the same event, I also got the Archdragon Dioramus, which is, like, he's not necessarily like the greatest cat, but he's good against angels in terms of like slowing them down stuff. So he's basically like he's like the Vars version of just angels, or the anti-Vars of angels, or the Bane of angels in a Vars sort of sense. So yeah, so currently maxing out him. Got the Infernal Akira and all that fun stuff. Akira I got from like a long time ago when I got that platinum ticket, and then we got Akira that way. So I maxed him out already to his true form, and then all these guys I still have yet to actually fully max out. But there you go. That's just some progress of what I've done in the game right there. Don't know why I decided to show in this video, but just thought it'd be kind of cool. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, then, you know, do all the stuff that I mentioned before, and I will essentially see you guys next time. So thanks for watching, and yeah, see ya. Bye.